Hello young patriots of the United States of America. The purpose of this video is to educate you all about your immune system and how you can protect it, stay strong, and fight the communist threat. In this video, we will be discussing the thymus, white blood cells, antibodies, epidermis, cilia, mucus, and saliva. These structures come together to form the immune system, which detects and protects the body from harmful pathogens such as viruses, bacteria, communist spies, and H-bombs, which threaten the security of our great country to this very day. The immune system functions like our great country, using 3 lines of defense to protect itself from the destructive communist agents. The first line of defense used against the commies is the Marshall Plan. This helps us to contain communist virus-like spread across the earth. Our immune system's first line of defense is comprised of physical and chemical barriers, such as the mucus, the cilia, the saliva, and the epidermis. The purpose of the epidermis is twofold. Firstly, it acts as a physical barrier, separating your insides from your outsides, protecting your muscles and veins from bacteria, viruses, and parasites. Secondly, the epidermis contains many cells that contain antibodies, including Langerhans cells, dendritic epidermal T lymphocytes, epidermotropic lymphocytes, and melanocytes. The second feature of our first line of defense is our saliva. Aside from the production of saliva, the large salivary glands also protect us from the numerous microbes that we are constantly exposed to through our mouths by producing plasma B cells, which produce antibodies which kill bacteria. Another feature of the first line of defense are our mucous membranes. They are located primarily in the nose and mouth and produce the substance known as mucus. Our body is able to regulate the viscosity, temperature, and pH of mucus, allowing it to effectively trap and destroy pathogens while allowing nutrients through. Mucus contains lysosomes, which destroy bacterial cell walls. The mucous membranes align with many small hairs called cilia, which produce mucus containing trapped bacteria from the lungs, keeping them safe. The second line of defense consists of our white blood cells. This is our great military, which serves to protect the citizens of this great country. Our boys help to keep our great country safe by being combat ready always, ready for deployment wherever needed. There are 2 distinct groups of white blood cells that protect us from communist spies and intrusions. Granulocytes, the first group, include basophils, which secrete histamines, bringing more cells to the site of injury. Neutrophils, which attach to the walls of blood vessels and block the passage of germs into the wound. And eosinophils, which work to attack parasites and worms by releasing toxins. There are 2 types of agranulocytes, monocytes and lymphocytes. Monocytes are phagocytes, meaning they eat dead cells around a wounded area. Lymphocytes are divided even further into B and T subgroups. B lymphocytes are responsible for producing specific antibodies when first encountering a pathogen, and remembering the recipe for those antibodies when that pathogen is encountered again. T lymphocytes are created in the thymus and are very important in the process of cell-mediated immunity. In our third line of defense is our specific immune response. Pathogens such as virus, bacteria, and foreign tissues are all antigens, which stimulate an immune response, creating antibodies. We have self-antigens, but a healthy body does not respond to these. Much like this is our final line of defense against harmful toxins, you, young patriots, are our last line of defense against the oppression of communism. Now, humans aren't the only organisms with immune systems. Every living thing needs to be able to overcome and repel pathogens. Because we are mammals, our immune system is circulatory, meaning we can send specialized cells to deal with injuries we sustain. Plants, however, do not have circulatory immune systems, meaning each cell must be able to deal with any pathogens it comes into contact with. Most cells do this by strengthening the cell wall, creating antibodies, or killing themselves so the infection has no living host. If a plant is infected with something it does not know how to respond to, it does not build up an immunity to it as our bodies do. As a result, to survive a specific virus, bacteria, or parasite, a plant population needs members of its species to have mutations that allow them to survive in the first place. Because our immune systems are able to build up a tolerance to infections, we are able to use vaccines to protect ourselves from illness. Injecting vaccines is like creating a controlled infection, which does not cause illness, but does cause the immune system to produce T lymphocytes and antibodies. If the body encounters a non-controlled version of this infection, it already has the correct response primed and waiting, much like America's boundless arsenal of nuclear warheads. Those gosh darn commies won't know what hit 'em. Every year, America's top doctors and scientists predict what strain of flu will be prevalent in the year to come and create a vaccination to protect the public. Pneumonia, a horrible respiratory disease, is powerless in the face of vaccines. The once ever-present, ever-threatening plague, polio, which crippled countless happy American children, can now be practically cured nationwide by simple vaccinations. Now, our young patriots will learn about the threats that these communist bacteria and viruses have posed in the past and still pose to our great immune system. Because of the leaps that our capitalist society has taken, we have been able to move more people, feed more people, and urbanize due to our way of life. Industry is booming now because of advances in communication, technology, and medicine. We still have to be wary of the ways that the communist pathogens might intrude into American society. Make sure to stay away from those that have been infected with the ideas of our enemy. Anything can be a transmitter, such as direct contact, air, touch, food, insects, and even our pets. Even Sparky should be careful, so be safe and wary. A disease outbreak is the increase in a case of disease that is not normal in population or geographical area. It may last for a few days or weeks, or for several years. A single case of a communicable disease may also cause an outbreak, and should be reported and investigated. If there are any suspicious persons around your house, school, or community, make sure to report them, because even a single communist can infect a population with its ideas. One of the biggest attacks on the human immune defense system was the assault of the Spanish flu in 1918. 20 to 50 million people were killed by this disease. Born from the trenches of the Great War, this influenza virus was not just the common cold, but highly virulent and deadly, killing 20 to 50 million people, including 675,000 Americans. Another instance of major spread of disease was the typhus epidemic of 1847 in Ireland. As Irish immigrants came to this great country, the awful conditions of their ships allowed typhus to spread like wildfire, with 80% of cases reported in New York being contracted from the journey over. Typhus spreads through the bites of fleas, ticks, and mites. These bites are scratched, and the typhus bacterium enters the bloodstream. Symptoms of typhus include sustained high fever, rash, and death. Perhaps the most well-known pandemic of all time, the Black Plague, infected much of the known world, starting in Asia and migrating through Europe. Caused by the movement of fleas on the backs of rats on merchant ships, symptoms of the Black Plague include large blisters filled with pus and blood, as well as death and the blackening of the skin. Millions died to this disease, nearly 1/3 of the population of the Middle East and Asia, 4/5 of Southern Europe, and 1/5 of Northern Europe. While the immune system is very important, it doesn't work alone, relying on other bodily systems to help it complete its duty, much like us relying on our allies to push back communism wherever they find it. The digestive system includes the gut-associated lymphoid tissue, or GALT, which decides what's food and what's a pathogen. The bones of our musculoskeletal system are the incubation sites for white blood cells, the second line of defense against pathogens. The circulatory system is critical to the proper function of our immune system, as the pumping of blood throughout the body allows our white blood cells to reach sites of infection or injury. Now, here is some weekly news. Stress can affect the way your immune system works. Stress can lead to increased levels of cortisol, a steroid hormone that is important for overall function of our body, but too much of it can lead to a number of health problems, including decreased immunity. Positive emotions and a healthy lifestyle may boost your immunity. Some research suggests that optimism can actually make our immune system work better. Sleep deprivation can impact immunity. Not getting enough sleep can wreak havoc on the body, and the immune system is no exception. Studies show that a lack of sleep may make you more likely to catch a cold, and also makes it more difficult to fight off infection. Allergies are the result of your immune system reacting to a false alarm. When you experience an allergic reaction, your immune system is responding to a harmless allergen that perceives as a threat. Symptoms of an allergic reaction, which can range from a runny nose to breaking out in hives to fainting, are a result of the body's misguided attack. Oh no! Timmy hears Russian planes overhead! In the event of a bomb alert, Timmy goes under his desk to protect himself from the Russian bombs. Good job, Timmy!